Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Patrice Dayton. The federal government is set to execute another inmate in Terre Haute. The execution of William LaCroix is set for 6 o'clock tonight in just minutes. News 10's Rondrell Moore is live at the federal prison in Terre Haute. He begins our team coverage this evening with what's happening and what's ahead for tonight.
Patrice, as you just mentioned, I'm here live just outside of the federal penitentiary here in Terre Haute. You can hear protesters right beside me. This is all for the scheduled execution of William LaCroix. Again, that was scheduled for 6 o'clock tonight. At this point, we are still waiting to hear back from News 10's Jordan Kudish. She is the media witness for this execution. We are still working to find out if that execution is happening on schedule or if there's been any sort of delay. Of course, we're staying on top of this. But I want to give you just a little bit of background into the case of William LaCroix. Back in 2001, the government says LaCroix raped and murdered a nurse in Georgia. The prosecutors said he stabbed her to death. Then they said he stole her car and drove to the Canadian border. Our News 10's Jordan Kudish, again, is a media witness for this execution. She tells us that victims should be making a statement, so we expect to hear from them later on this evening. Of course, she is inside of the chambers right now awaiting for that execution. But right now, we're going to turn it over to News 10's Dominic Miranda, who is covering the other part of the story. That is, of course, the protesters. Dominic, what can you tell us?
Rondrell, I'm here at the intersection of Spring Hill Drive and Prairieton Road. It's right across from the federal prison here in Terre Haute. Now, as you can see behind me, protesters who are lobbying against the death penalty, they've been gathered here for just over an hour in protest of the scheduled execution of William LaCroix. Sylvester Edwards, he is the president of the Greater Terre Haute branch of the NAACP. He tells me that their message is in fact being heard. Like I said, protesters have been gathered here outside the Terre Haute Federal Penitentiary since about 4:30 this afternoon. They've lined the streets advocating against the death penalty, and they say that they believe that they are making their message heard and getting traction in their message. Now, as you can see here behind me, the protesters have gathered. They are sharing messages in support of abolishing the death penalty. They're sharing messages in support of William LaCroix and his family, as well as the victims and their family. They say they're spreading their messages that this is a time of meditation. This is a time to remember everyone involved, because they say it doesn't just hurt the person getting executed. It doesn't just hurt the person whose families were affected by this execution. It hurts everybody. So this is a time for meditation. Now, there will be a bell rung when the confirmation of the execution does come down. There will be a bell rung, and that will be a time of remembrance and prayer. That's what we have right now. News 10's Dominic Miranda reporting live in Terre Haute. Rondrell, back to you.
Thank you very much, Dominic. As you heard, lots of protesters here today, and also since we've been here, several people driving by shouting out that these inmates should be executed. So counter-protesters here as well, an active scene. We're going to stay right here and, of course, give you updates. The moment we find out if the execution has happened, we will cut back in and we will let you know. But for right now, reporting live in Terre Haute, Patrice, we'll check in with you later.
Thank you very much, Rondrell. There is another federal execution set for Thursday evening. That inmate is Christopher Andre Villalba. The government says he murdered youth ministers Todd and Stacy Bagley in 1999 in Texas. The Bagleys gave Villalba and two of his accomplices a ride. They forced the couple into their trunk. Prosecutors said Villalba shot both of the Bagleys, then an accomplice set the car on fire.